Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, chapter 844 of One Piece has dropped. So if you haven't checked out that chapter yet, I suggest that you do so before checking out my first reaction to the chapter because I will be spoiling you. But now that you have, let's talk about it. There wasn't a lot to this chapter. It only really covered one ongoing plot from the previous chapters. But honestly guys, I'm completely fine with it. Man, by the end of this chapter, I had the feels, but for the majority of the chapter, honestly, I was just extremely frustrated. Like, seriously. Now, everyone knows, you, me, your brother, your newly born baby, everyone knows that Sanji is not going to leave the crew, that Sanji does not think everything that he's saying is true. Even Luffy didn't believe Sanji. And that's saying something because Luffy believes some pretty ridiculous crap sometimes. So was Oda ever going to sell us on this idea that Sanji was going to leave the crew? No. At no point in time was he going to be capable of doing that. But even despite all of this, I honestly think this moment was kind of important. Imagine yourself as Sanji right at this moment. What are you supposed to do? Even if you fight back, your mentor and basically the person that you owe your entire life to might die in Owner's F. At the same time, your friends who you told to stay away ends up coming instead, and their lives are also in danger. There's really nothing that you can do in order to save anyone aside from getting them the heck out of there and then just doing what you're told. But in order to do that, you have to at least try to convince your friends that you hate them, that you never believed in them in the first place, and that they are worthless pieces of shit. How hard must that be? Welcome to Sanji's life right now. But yeah guys, that's pretty much all that I can say about that. You read the chapter. But there is a few other things that I want to talk about in regards to this chapter. Not too much, but still a couple things, which is that we get a couple lines from the Vinsmoke Fodders basically complimenting Sanji on his strength. They seem legitimately wowed by how strong Sanji is, which is a really cool moment, all things considered. We should know that they have seen all of the other Vinsmoke brothers, and for them to have such a reaction to Sanji kind of suggests to me that Sanji might be more impressive than most of his brothers. Or at the very least, just as impressive. Which, when you think about it, kind of adds a little bit of layers between this whole Sanji and the Vinsmoke situation. Which is that, keep in mind that the only reason that Sanji hasn't been a part of that family for the last 10 years or so is because they deemed him worthless. That he was a failed experiment, that Judge Vinsmoke didn't even want to associate him as part of their family. But now, it seems as though he's pretty much just as powerful as all of his brothers. The Fodders even comment that it's very clear that he has the Vinsmoke blood running through him. And so what must Judge Vinsmoke and all of the brothers really be thinking at this moment? Are they so conceited to have this imagined superiority over Sanji like they had in the past? Or do they see what everyone else sees, which is somebody who is of comparable strength as an adult? Do they feel any sort of regret? Talking specifically about Judge Vinsmoke here, does he feel any sort of regret for throwing Sanji to the wayside? Honestly, that was a waste to their forces, now looking back at it. And at this point, I think we can pretty much assume that Sanji is stronger than Yonji and probably also Niji. And so, add in this future battle as well, in which Sanji definitively proves that he's stronger than one or both of these guys. And then Judge Vinsmoke, man, how must that make you feel? What a dick. You reap what you sow, as they say. And then going into Luffy for a moment, man, Luffy took a beating. Sanji definitely didn't hold back any of his kicks. And so, in an arc in which Luffy needs to conserve as much stamina as possible, he was just coming off of an 11-hour battle with a Big Mom Yonko commander, and there is still so much more fighting left to be done in this arc. For Oda to allow Luffy to take so much damage at this point in time with the wedding looming, man, we all know that at some point in time Luffy is going to find a way to win. and whatever conflicts happen in the future. But still, this is the kind of thing which makes me think that it's possible that Luffy won't succeed, even though I know that he will succeed. Which honestly makes the arc or the chapter or the story a lot better. And there was also some really interesting lines at the end of the chapter, where Luffy basically said that he is going to wait right where he is for Sanji until he starves to death. And so, I'm wondering if Luffy is being serious or not, because if he just sits there and waits for Sanji to free himself and then return to him, then he might be waiting legitimately until he starves. Or definitely until after the wedding is complete. So at some point in time, Luffy actually has to go and do something. He has to figure out exactly what's going on between himself and Sanji, and why Sanji said all those things that he did say. So I'm kind of curious as to which direction Oda is going to take this. Did Luffy just mean that as sort of a metaphor, or is he legitimately going to wait there? And so guys, I'm going to throw in some crazy speculation. And do I believe this? Absolutely not. But I do think it's an interesting train of thought, which is perhaps Oda is legitimately removing Luffy from the story in the short term until the wedding actually takes place. And many of you are going to go, wait, what? But I have this theory that events in the Whole Cake Island are going to progress regardless of what Luffy is going to do. This is a theory that I made in which Capone is going to sabotage the wedding. Basically set the Vinsmoke and the Big Mom Pirates against each other. And so Luffy is not needed in order for an event like this to occur. So legitimately, Luffy could just wait exactly where he is for Sanji to come back and apologize. Meanwhile, shit could get extremely real in Whole Cake Island outside of anything that Luffy actually does. So I do think there is a very slight possibility that this is the last bit of action that we've seen from Luffy until we get to the wedding. But who knows, right? It's definitely possible as Luffy waits for Sanji to return. The Big Mom Pirates, who are now going to be looking for him since he sent Cracker flying right into all of Big Mom's subordinates and Big Mom's castle, they're going to be looking for him. And so the battle may end up finding Luffy rather than Luffy finding the battle. But yeah guys, that's all I got for this chapter. I want to give a special thanks to Revujo, who made my channel art. He also made some original art from this last chapter for me for this video, and he has plans on doing more in the future purely out of the goodness of his heart because he wants to. Like, I'm really appreciative for him doing that. And in order to show my thanks, I do have a link to his art in my description if you guys want to check out other art that he makes as well. It's just really cool. But anyway, all things considered, I would rate this as a very good chapter. Not the best chapter that I've ever seen, not the best chapter in the last couple chapters, but still a very good chapter that really got my emotions going. But let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about my speculations, or if you noticed something from the chapter that I haven't. Leave a comment. Like the video if you liked the video. I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. And as always, dudes, have a wonderful day.